U23 Provincial Qualifier Cup Competition presented by CMSA. We are very excited to see who out of all of these teams are going to be joining the ASA Provincials in the fall. We've got 111 boys teams. We've got 59 girls teams for a grand total of 170 teams across 26 divisions that are vying for their chance to represent CMSA at Provincials for Alberta Soccer. Want to remind you a little bit about the draw procedure. We'll always have the first and second seed on either side of the bracket, so they will never meet in a first round. And from there, we'll draw each game. So from pot A and pot B, or what that game denotes that we draw from. Let's dive straight in and let's get after it with the boys U13 Tier 1 draw. So going in for that game one out of pot A to see who is going to play that Rangers FC 10 boys team. We have drawn, I don't know, I didn't see it. Oh, the number 3 seed, Foothills FC 2010 Green. So they're going to slide into that game one, spot one, and they're going to be playing off against out of pot B. We'll see who comes out of there. We're going to be drawing the the number 5 seed. So Villains FC Union 10 will be into that game 1 slot 2 against Foothills FC 2010 Green. That then leaves out of pot A the Blizzard SC 10 boys to populate into game 2. And out of pot B would come the Calgary West Celtic 10 to populate that slot 2 in game 2. They're going to play off to see who meets the Southwest United Premiers 10 boys in that semi-final. They've got the 2 first-round byes, them and the Rangers FC 10. And we're going to see who wins this exciting bracket. There's a lot of good teams in this bracket. I'm really looking forward to seeing how this one plays out in a couple of weeks' time with the first matches kicking off really, really soon. Stick with us. We're going to be right back with the boys U13 Tier 2 live draw for their provincial chance through CMSA. We are back with those boys U13 Tier 2, the live draw for them. You're on your screen, you're going to see a monstrous bracket. We've got 16 teams in this division, so there's 2 sides of the bracket. We'll have the 1 seed on one side and the 2 seed on the other side, just depending on when they get drawn. So as we get rolling here, we're going to draw out of pot A first. And see who comes out of there and see which side of the bracket that they're going to be going on. The number 1 seed, look at that, game 1, first one out of the pot is that Foothills FC boys team. They're going to slot into game 1, slot 1, as you can see on your screen there. And we'll go into pot B to see who they're going to play. The 12 seed is who they're going to play. So the MUSC Rapids are going to slot in there into slot number 2 in game 1 on that first side of the bracket. A little southeast Calgary derby between Foothills and Mackenzie, always a spicy one when they get together. So looking forward to that match. Out of Pot A, we're going to go in to find some more games. Who are we going to pull out of Pot A? Pot A is the number 5 seed, so they can slot into Game 2 there. The number 5 seed is the Southwest United FC boys. There's a couple of the Southwest teams in this division and in this bracket. There's an SC, there's an FC, there's a Selects, but the FC boys have gone into Game 2 there. And their opponent out of Pot B is going to be the 10 seed, the Blizzard Alliance boys. They're going to slot in there into Game 2, Slot 2. So cross-city matchup between Southwest and Blizzard. A couple of good teams there that'll play off in that first round of games. Into Pot A again to see who we pull out. Again, if it's that second seed, then we'll look to move them to the other side. It is the 8th seed, so they can slot into that Game 3. Calgary West, the FC10 boys, they're going to slot into Game 3, Slot 1. And into Pot B, we're going to go to find them an opponent as well. It's the 14 seed. Big numbers here, big group. That's the Villains Sporting boys, so Calgary West and Villains. Should we call this the maybe Crowchild Classic kind of piece? Villains and Cal West. Crowchild would connect them, right? So Crowchild Classic maybe between them. We'll go back into Pot A to see who we draw. We've got the 6th seed. So the 6th seed is the Chinooks FC United boys. They're going to slot into that Game 4. And into Pot B we're going to go. We've got to go find them an opponent. It's the 15 seed. So that's the Rangers Athletics boys. Well, Chinooks Rangers, that's two clubs very close in geography in the southwest of the city here. I'm sure they've played each other a lot. I'm sure there's a little rivalry going there. And now we'll go back into Pot A to fill out that other side of the bracket now. Oh, yes, Pot A. Pot A. We want to go into Pot A. Just waiting on the hands, the magic hands. Who are they going to pull? It's the 7 seed. So the 7 seed, the New Frontier boys, they're going to go into that game number 5. We're going to have to, of course, go and find them an opponent. They always come out of Pot B, the opponent. And let's see who we pull out of that side. It's the 13 seed, so another one of those Southwest United teams. This time it's the Southwest United Selects. They're going to slot over into the B slot 2 there of game number 5. Back into Pot A to round out game number 6 and figure out who's going to be playing in that game. It is the number 3 seed. Okay, so Foothills 2010 White boys are going to be into that game number 6. As you can see, the 1 and the 3 seeds from Foothills, they're going to be on opposite sides of the bracket. Going to be interesting if they meet in the final and see what happens there. Their opponent out of Pot B is the 11 seed. It is the Spartans Argonauts. They're gonna go into slot number 2 there. That'll be an interesting one. East side of the city, both teams from. It'll be a good little matchup there in the boys U13 Tier 2 bracket. Of course, Game 7 needs some opponents, so who's coming out of Pot A to help us out there? Oh, it's the 4 seed. So 3 and 4 avoid each other on the same brackets. They might play off into that quarterfinal. It's the Southwest United, I think it's SC. The SCs, the FCs, it's the SC boys that'll slot into that game number 7. So 2 Southwest United teams on the same side of the bracket on this one. And Pot B is giving us the West Hills Hurricanes. They're going to be into slot number 2 in game 7. Game 8, there's only 2 balls left, so let's find out who they are when we pull them out. That's what's going to be rounding out our bracket. Looks like out of Pot A, it is the... Oh, pot B was drawn for some odd reason. Rangers will slot into that second slot there, and then I believe it leaves the CNEU group to be into that slot 1 out of pot A. I think that's all that's left out of this draw. Excellent. That one rounds out the boys U13 Tier 2. Big group, lots of teams vying for their chance at the ASA U13 Tier 2 Provincials. Stick around, we're coming right back with the boys U13 Tier 3 after just a moment.
Girls and booze, but we never had a plan. And the only thing we ever knew was when the cops showed up, we ran. I miss when. Back when we were kids and the world was ours. Back when we were kids before all the scars. Back when we were kids, swore we never part. Back when we were kids, everything felt like this. Back when we were kids, everything felt like this. Back when we were kids. Every road, driving in, I was so innocent, reminiscing about trying to get the explicit edition of Eminem in. Back when we were kids again, when we only went to movies for the back row, when we only needed chalk in the asphalt. We knew this would happen. Take me back to back to back, back when we were kids and the world was ours. Back when we were kids before all the scars. Back when we were kids, well, we never part.
Good, so welcome back into the boys U13 Tier 3. Hopefully you've refilled your drink, you've grabbed a bit of popcorn. We're going to dive in after we allocate the 2 buys for this group. You've got NCFC Deportivo as the buy 1 in game 3. They've got a slot in there as the first seed, and then the second seed, the Chinooks FC Selects, they're going to slide down into the opposite side of the bracket for buy number 2. What you're going to see here is a bit of a unique bracket with 10 teams, and unfortunately 2 of those teams out of pot A are going to play off against each other in that game 4 spot. So right now we're going to draw 2 teams out of pot B to slot into that game 1, so making sure that we go into pot B to find out who that first play-in game is. The first team out of that pot is the number 10 seed, the Villain Sonics, so they'll play in that spot 1. And then we need to find them an opponent as well out of pot B. So they're going to be playing off against the 7 seed, the EMFC Knights 10 boys. They're going to slot into that game 1 as well. We'll move into game number 2 again out of pot B. Sorry, one of those should, I believe, say pot A. So apologies on the typo. So pot A will have to play in there, as you can see. Or wait, apologies. There's probably an error here. That pot A can actually go into game number 4. So we've mixed something up. Apologies. There's always one little technical difficulty. Right now we've got it. Glad we sorted it out now. So pot A can go in there. So there's your 4 pot A's. They're into that quarterfinal, and the pot B's will have those play-in games. So apologies for that. We are now sorted. So out of pot B, you're going to have the 8 and the 9 seed of CNEU Strikers and the Rangers Royals playing off to play against that Chinooks FC Selects. Now we'll go into pot A to figure out who's on the one side of the bracket. The top side there, as you can see in game 4. In slot number 1, we have pulled the number 6 seed, which is the Foothills 2010 United boys. It'll be really interesting to see the next ball pulled. Hopefully for them it's not the number 5, which is another Foothills group, but we will see. We'll go back into pot A to see who finishes that game number 4 and who rounds that out. It is the 4 seed, so Royal West Atletico will be going into that slot number 2 for game 4. Then obviously the last two left will be the Southwest United Atletico and the Foothills 2010 Prospects that will populate game number 4. So we can pull out those two balls just to make sure that there's no FIFA level of corruption here, and make sure that everything's kosher and that things are moving along. You can see on your screen that whole bracket's populated now for the boys U13 Tier 3. Stick around. We've got the boys U13 Tier 4 cup draw coming up after just a short break. We'll reload and we'll see you back here in a moment. Good, so moving into that boys U13 Tier 4 bracket, you can see two teams have got the bye, the first and second seeds of the Lions Soccer Club and Academy, Impact 10, and the Foothills 2010 Comets on the other side of the bracket. It's that easy for those two teams. You win one game and you're in there for provincials, and then you play off to see who's CMSA 1 and CMSA 2. We need to find them opponents though in one of those play-in games in game 1 and 2 in your screen. So we're going to dive into pot A and see who comes out. It's either Southwest United Real or the Blizzard United 10 boys. So let's dive in. Let's see who comes out of there. It is the 4th seed. So Blizzard United 10 boys will slot into that slot number 1 for game 1. And then, of course, we have to go to pot B, find them an opponent. It's either going to be Foothills or Southwest Barca. Who's it going to be that come out of there? It's the 6th seed, the Southwest United Barca 10 boys. They're going to go into that slot number 2 in game number 1. Game 2 then, rounding that one out, is Southwest United Real and the Foothills 2010 Galaxy boys. Southwest United avoided each other on either side of the draw. So we'll see if they come through, but the one Southwest team has got a tough path through two Foothills teams, and of course that Lions team is no slouch either. So I'm excited to see how this boys U13 Tier 4 bracket rounds out and who ends up going to represent CMSA at the Alberta Soccer Provincials later this summer. Stick around, we'll be right back after this. Welcome back. We're going to shift into the girls side of the game now. So girls U13 Tier 1, as you can see, 6 teams vying for their spot at provincials, which means 2 byes. The Villains FC Spirit get the first bye as the first seed, and the second bye are the Blizzard SC 10 girls. Going into pot A to figure out who's going to round out those play-in games, you're going to see game 1 out of pot A, either Rangers or Foothills come out of there. And it's the 4th seed, the Foothills WFC 2010 girls. They're going to slot into game 1. Tough road for them through that Villains FC Spirit team. And then out of pot B, we're going to either pull the Chinooks FC 10 Red Stars or Southwest. We have pulled the 5 seed, so a little 4v5 as that playoff game to see who's playing off against Villains. They're going to go up into game 1, slot 2, that Chinooks Red Stars team. Chinooks Red Stars will slot into game 1, slot 2. So move them up from game 2. These long, hot Calgary days clearly take their toll on everyone here. And then out of Pot A, the only one left would be the Rangers WFC 10 girls team that go into Game 2, Slot 1. And then the Southwest United Premiers 10 girls will round out that Game 2, Slot 2 for a chance to go to that U13 Tier 1 Girls Provincials in August this year. Stick around, we'll be right back with the girls U13 Tier 2s after a very, very short break. Stay with us, we'll be right back. Perfect. We are back with the girls U13 Tier 2. Sorry about the slightly longer than usual delay. As you can see, only one bye in this 7-team bracket. You've got the Blizzard Alliance 10 girls already into that semifinal. And let's see who's going to play off against the Blizzard Alliance 10 girls. So into Pot A for that Game 1, Slot 1. Let's find out who's populating that one. It is the number 3 seed. So we've got the Rangers WFC 11 Blue that'll filter into that Game 1, Slot 1. Into Pot B, see who ends up coming out of there. You've got the 7 Foothills 2010 girls. They're going to slot into Game 1, Slot 2. Game 2, obviously now the 2nd seed will be on that other side of the bracket, thankfully. So into Pot A, it's either going to be the 2 or the 4. It's the 4, so the Spartans Amazons will slot into Game 2, Spot 1. And they're going to play off against the 6 seed, the MUSC Selects 10 girls. They're going to go into that Game 2, Slot 2. Rounding out the rest of the bracket is going to see the WFC 2011 girls slotting into that Game 3, Slot 1. So the number 2 seed will end up in Game 3. And then out of Pot B, it'll have to be, if we've done this correctly, the Blizzard United 10 girls will be in that Game number 3. So a little cross-city rivalry between Foothills and Blizzard. Really interesting bracket shaping up with this one. Blizzard have avoided each other, and so have Foothills on either side of the bracket, so I'm really excited to see who goes and represents CMSA out of the U13 Tier 2 girls later this summer at the ASA Provincials. Stick around, we'll be right back with the girls U13 Tier 3 and right after that, the Tier 4 without a break. So stick around, do not switch off, and we'll be right back. Diving in, girls U13 Tier 3. On your screen, you're going to see a 5-team bracket. So that means 2 buys. It looks like there because the 1 and the 2 can't be on the same side of the grid. So apologies, not 2 buys, 1 buy, but 1 and 2 have already been pre-drawn because they can't be on the same side of the bracket there. That then leaves game 1 to have Villains Rebels. Round that one out. And we need to go into pot B to find the opponents for both Villains Rebels and the EMFC Barcelona 10. So game 1 we'll start with. It's either going to be the 4 or the 5 seed, Blizzard or Foothills Rush. It is the 4 seed. So Blizzard and Villains, little 3v4 to play off against the top seed of North Calgary FC Atletico. We're going to see then who progresses into that final game to see who's CMSA 1 and 2. And that leaves, of course, the Foothills Rush 2010 girls that will populate that game 2, slot 2. Quick one, easy one. You win, you're in. That simple with these. Zooming ahead into the girls U13 Tier 4. We have 2 teams that have entered, so our first confirmed provincial participants are the CNEU 2011 Flash and the Mackenzie United Soccer Club Arrows. Feels like a superhero battle with those names in the cup final to see who goes as CMSA 1 and CMSA 2. Stick around, jumping over to the boys U15 Tier 1 right after this. Boys U15 Tier 1. This bracket's going to get exciting. As you can see on your screen, another 10-team bracket, so bear with us for 2 seconds as we fix the same typo as the last 10-team bracket. Once that's sorted, we'll proceed with the draw. There we go, perfect. So we have 2 teams with the bye, the Foothills FC 2009A boys and the PSA Elite based on this seeding. We're going to dive into Pot B to draw those first 2 games. Pot B, here we go. Is it going to be Foothills? They're going to have to play on the same side of the bracket, or is it going to be Villains, Rangers, or Southwest United? It's the 8 seed, so Villains FC Real. Let's jump into that game 1, slot 1, up at the top of the screen there. They, of course, are going to need an opponent out of that Pot B as well. Going to see who that comes out. Still a chance. It's Foothills. And it's the 10 Southwest United Premier 09 boys against Villains FC Real 09 boys as well. Into game 2, that leaves 2 teams left. You've got Foothills and Rangers to round out that side of the bracket. So Foothills have avoided each other on either side of the bracket. We're going to dive into the Pot A groups in just a second and see if Calgary West can do that as well. You can see 2 teams in there from Calgary West. Rangers hopefully will avoid each other on each side of the bracket as well and give their club the best chance. We've drawn the Pot A group, it's the 3. So New Frontier FC08 boys will go into game 4, slot 1. And their opponent out of Pod A as well is going to be the 6th seed. Okay, Calgary West, they've avoided each other on the one side of the bracket. So New Frontier and Calgary West. Little rebranded Calgary West against New Club and New Frontier. Really exciting there. Northwest kind of derby. That leaves us with Rangers FC08 going into game 6. And the Calgary West A 2009 boys also going into game 6 to play off against that Rangers FC08 boys. This is going to be an exciting bracket, I think. If you can make it out to some games, get out to some of these games. Check the CalgaryMinersSoccer.com website for more information and times. And we're looking forward to seeing these teams compete for their chance at provincials. Stay tuned. Boys U15 Tier 2 is back after a quick reload.
Empty words or empty beds. I'm tired of choosing. Too long I've run in the rain. Your timing just proves it. So now I'm doing the right thing but the wrong one. Tricky kissing when your words said right. I don't care my promises, they're just all gone. Skills can just bring me back to life. Some girls will count their tears, and now you're already here. Cheers to the clouds so we can taste the sun only for a while. Oh, this is the perfect this is the perfect
We are back. We're back with the boys U15 Tier 2. Big bracket. Big boy energy with this one. Big bracket. 3 buys. You've got Foothills, you've got Blizzard, you've got Spartans all earning those buys as the top 3 seeds. We got to go into Pot A, of course, as we usually do to start off with, to see game 1, who's ending up there to play against someone out of Pot B first, but then into that Foothills FC 2008. It is the 7 seed. Oh no, Foothills have got each other potentially in that second game. Foothills prospects are going to filter into that game 1, slot 1. Unfortunate draw for Foothills right now. Just going to see one of their teams for sure going home. Pot B out of that one is the 12 seed. So Cal Glen, West Hills, Mackenzie United, Fire. That is one unbelievable club amalgamation to make one team happen. So bravo to those clubs for working together to make that team viable. Game 2 out of Pot A is going to be need a drum roll, is the number 6, the Rangers Athletics 08 boys. They're going to slot in there into game 2, slot 1. Head over to Pot B. The magic hands on the side of the screen there, as you can see, will go into Pot B and draw out another one. 13, the North Calgary FC Boca. That should be an interesting one. A little underage group with the 09s there, playing both of those games, games 1 and game 2. Game 3, need more teams drawn. Go back to Pot A. Who is going to come out of Pot A? Finalize that top half of the bracket. It's the 8 seed, Chinooks FC. United 08s, they're going to go into that game 3, slot 1. As always, you can't just play a game with one team, so we need to find them an opponent out of Pot B. Pot B is going to give us the number 10 seed, so the Foothills 2009 prospects. Foothills, all teams on one side of the brackets. I know the emails are coming. I know there's going to be corruption allegations. you're watching it live, you can see that it's all above board. Interesting draw. Game 4, Pot A. We need to find more teams to round out the bottom side of that bracket now. Bottom side of that bracket is going to look like the 4 seed, the West Hills Force. They're going to be forceful in that game number 4. Favorable draw for them, hopefully, out of Pot B. Pot B is going to give us the 9 seed, the CNEU 2009 Force. That's a forceful matchup. Force v Force. There's a lot of power in those names. Game 5 then, last 2 that'll be drawn out of A and B. Only ones left. Let's see what comes out. The 5, of course it's going to be 5, Calgary West FC, and the 11, the Blizzard Alliance 09 boys. So Blizzard on the same side of the draw, Foothills all on the same side of the draw. A little unlucky with these, with the boys U15 Tier 2. We're going to scroll over. They're going to get there. There we go. Blizzard Alliance, they've filtered in, rounded out our entire bracket. As you can see on your screen, boys U15 Tier 3, there's 13 again in that one. So another big bracket. We're going to reload, come right back, and we'll see you in just a moment. Coming back at you, boys U15 Tier 3. As you can see, another 13 team bracket means 3 of those teams get the buys. The top seed, the Foothills Hornets, Calgary West City, and the Southwest United Premiers 08 boys, they all get the buys. They've got a slightly easier route based on our seeding from this outdoor season. Live seeding, games matter. This is where we're at now. Game 1, Pot A, Slot 1. Let's see who we've got drawn out of that group. 6. 6 is a good number. The Chinooks FC Select 08. They're going to slot into that Game 1. There you go. They're up there. Top of your screen. Top of the bracket. Pot B is giving us their opponent. Pot B has got the 12 seed. Multiples of 6 action here. Okay, CNEU 2009, the Hurricanes and Chinooks. Those are two interesting games that are going to happen here. Chinooks and CNEU, and then winners play that Foothills Hornets. I like the looks of that. Entertaining matchups for sure. Game 2, Pot A, Slot 1. We've got the 7 seed of Rockies FC 09s. They're filtering into that top half of the bracket. Slide in there on your screen, and Pot B is giving us their opponent. Who have we got coming out of Pot B? Magic Hands. The 10 seed, Cal Glen, pardon me, Fuego. I like it. A little Spanish influence in that. That they like to play, they keep possession, good tempo. I like the sounds of this. Game 3, Slot 1. Who's that going to be? Magic Hands, tell me. Pot A, Game 3. Number 8. Number 8. The Magic Hands even spoke this time. EMFC United 08. Is that 08? Yeah, 08 Stealth. Excellent. game 3. There we go. Pot B. Who are we getting out of Pot B for these boys to determine their path to provincials? 13 seed. That Foothills 2009 United boys. They're gonna round out the top half of the bracket. So again, 2 Foothills teams on the one side of the bracket, unfortunately, for them. Jump down into the bottom half there. Game number 4, slot 1. Who's it going to be, Magic Hands? The 4. Rangers, Royals, 2008 boys. They're going to be in that bottom side of the bracket. That looks like a decent side of the bracket with the Calgary West, the Southwest United Premiers and Rangers now. Good side of the bracket. Pot B. Who we've got out of there? Number 9, Royal West United. A little Royal West action there against Rangers. Very interesting matchup yet again. And then game 5, the last 2 out of the pots are going to be the number 5, the PSA Prospects, and the number 11, Southwest United FC 09 boys. So Southwest, they've got actually an interclub game if they get past the PSA Prospects. That's a tough one. Tough draw for Southwest, but we'll see what happens there with the boys U15 Tier 3 Cup Competition. Their road to provincials is set now. Let's get into the boys U15 Tier 4 after just a moment. Stay with us. As you can see, we get a little faster with this each and every draw that we do. Boys U15 Tier 4 6-team bracket, meaning 2 of those teams get a bye. Those 2 are the Foothills Sting 2008s and the West Hills Thunder. First, second seed, opposite sides of the bracket. Let's get into Pot A, get this one over and done with. Wham bam, let's get after it. The 3 seed, so Blizzard United 09 boys are going to slot into that game number 1, slot 1. And then out of Pot B, their opponent, either Rockies or Southwest United selects. It's the 5, so Rockies, little Northwest derby. Big cluster of clubs up there. Blizzard and Rockies, this should be an entertaining one, which gives us Cal Glen United and the Southwest United selects. That'll filter into that bottom half of the bracket into game number 2, which will appear on your screen in just a moment. It's always interesting when you're working with technology. Sometimes it goes well, sometimes it goes slow. It seems to be that things might have frozen. So we can either stand here awkwardly. There we go. Looks like progress is being made. Game 2, slot 1. In it goes. Game 2, slot 2. Southwest United selects. Good matchups in that boys U15 Tier 4. Get out. Watch one of your club games, watch your club mates play in some of these big, high energy games, and get out and support. This board over here tells me the girls U15 Tier 1 is up next, so we're going to be right back with that. U15 Tier 1 Provincial Qualifier Cup Competition. Their road to nationals starts with these games. Big games, important games. I would love to get out and watch these and see who's winning these. Top 2 seeds in a 6-team bracket, as you've already known, get that first round bye. So you've got the Blizzard SC09 girls and the Foothills WFC 2008 girls with that first round bye. Let's get into Pot A. Fill out game number 1, see who's going to round this out for us. 3. MUSC Thorns. That's a tough road for them through those Blizzard SC09 girls. 2 very good teams, the Thorns and the Blizzard girls, so I'm excited to watch and see how this plays out. if Mackenzie get past out of Pot B, either Villains or Foothills 2009s. The 6, the Foothills WFC 2009 White Girls. That is a good rivalry between those two teams. That's going to be an entertaining game. I guarantee you, get out and watch that girls U15 Tier 1 game against Mackenzie and Foothills. Then the bottom side of the bracket, of course, is the 4 seed and the 5 seed with MUSC West Hills Glory, and then the Villains FC Thorns rounding it out for their chance to play off against the Foothills WFC 2008 girls. You see, both Foothills teams missed each other in this draw, and both Mackenzie groups missed each other in this draw too. So entertaining. We're going to see what happens with these U15 Tier 1 girls in their road to nationals. So we're going to jump straight into the girls U15 Tier 2 because there's just an announcement really to make. Foothills 2008 girls were the top seed out of this group, so they've got that bye into the final. Congratulations. Ding, ding, ding. Another team going to provincials to represent CMSA. Now it's just a matter of finding out who they play to determine if they're 1 or 2. Rangers W Athletics 0809s will play off against that Blizzard Alliance 09 girls. Playing game, you win one, you're going to provincials. That's simple. So stick around. Girls U15 Tier 3 coming up right now in just a moment. Back with those girls U15 Tier 3, the bracket here. Game 3, you can see top seed CNEU Flames have got that first round bye, and then game 4, those Rangers W Royals 0809, that blended group, they've got the bye too on the other side of the bracket. So get involved here, magic hands, get into game 1, pot A, slot 1. There's a lot of just pots and slots and other things to remember with this rule. Number 3, Royal West Sevilla. Well, Spanish influence again there. They're going to go into game 1, slot 1. See if they play the CNEU Flames to see who goes to provincials. Game 1, slot 2 out of pot B is the 5 seed, so the Foothills Ravens. That matchup is as steamy as Grandma's cinnamon buns. Fresh baked cinnamon buns, steamy like that matchup. Looking forward to that one. Game 2 then obviously is going to have the North Calgary FC 09 River and the Southwest Premiers 09 girls rounding out that bottom side of the bracket. That's your game 2. They're going to play off for a chance to play that Rangers team. If I'm that Rangers team or CNEU, I'm out scouting, I'm watching the opponent, I'm thinking, how do I beat them? Got the advantage, you two, you better use it. Gonna dive in straight to the girls U15 Tier 4, and as you can see, 2 teams enter, 2 teams go to provincial straight away. They'll have one game to see who's CMSA 1 and CMSA 2. You've got the Blizzard United 09 girls and the Mackenzie United Fire 08 girls in that girls U15 Tier 4. We got to reload with a big one. We've got 16 teams in the next bracket for the boys U17 Tier 1. We'll be right back. We are back. We've reloaded. You're gonna see that big bracket. Not an intermediate bracket. We're talking about the big expert size bracket. 16 team that my nose smells some good matchups coming out of. So dive in, pot A. Let's see who comes out of there for game number 1. I'll remind you again, seeds 1 and 2, different sides of the bracket, and we'll see where everyone else fares. So the 4 seed is going to go into game number 1. So that is the Rangers AFC 06 boys. Want to remind you, there's a boys U17 national competition on the line with this big bracket. Another entertaining one here. Hopefully that nationals is in an accessible location. I'm not too sure where it's at, but we'll see where this takes them. Pot B, giving us the 10 seed. 10 seed is Calgary West. I think it's the Celtic. Very small on my screen, very small on your screen. That's what happens when you've got tons of teams vying for their chance at provincials. Into pot A, potentially into game 2, potentially not. We'll see who comes out of that. Number 1, amazing, Calgary West. Oh, actually, sorry, not amazing for Calgary West. Sorry about that, Calgary West. You're going to go into that slot 1, game 2, and you might have to play off against your other Calgary West team to see who makes it to that provincial championship. Slot 2, pot B. The fur on my arms is tingling a little bit, standing straight up. It's the 11 seed. Looks like a little Mackenzie Southwest United 07, I think it is, on that screen. It's going to be a good matchup, actually. I like the sounds of that one. Game number 3 out of pot A. Let's see who that seed is. Unless it's the number 2 seed. It's the 7 seed. Okay, so Rangers FC 06. They're going to jump into that game 3 slot 1. And their opponent out of pot B. Little drum roll. The 15 seed. Foothills FC boys going in there to play off against that Rangers FC 06 boys team. Rangers v Foothills. Rangers on the same side of the bracket, unfortunately. Gonna review pot A and see what comes out of game number 4. Pot A. Number 2. We cannot have 1 and 2 on the same side of the bracket, so that Foothills group is going to slide over into game number 5. Computers just take a moment sometime. They're like chopping trees. Sometimes it goes timber, sometimes it takes a second. We just need to see when this computer is going to sort itself out. Oh, there we go. Pop to life. Game 5 is where that number 2 is going to go. We're going to go back into pot A then to round out game number 4 and see who comes of that. The 5 seed. 5, that's Southwest United Premier boys. They're going to go into game 4 slot 1. Out of pot B, we got to get them an opponent, of course. You probably heard me say that too many times. Who is going to be that opponent out of pot B for those Southwest United Premiers? It is going to be the 16. So the Villains selects. They're going to jump in there to round out that bracket on the one side. Some interesting matchups, definitely on that side. Some very intriguing ones. Jump over pot B. We need a team for that Foothills team to play. We don't want to spend a lot of time here. Want to make sure that we're clicking along. So Magic Hands, who's coming out of pot B? The 14 seed. EMFC United 07s are going to go into that game number 5. We're going to jump back into pot number A for game number 6 and see who comes of there. The 6 seed. Foothills 2006s. They're going to jump in there. So a little Foothills v Foothills in the second round potentially if they can get past their opponents in EMFC. And who is it, Magic Hands? Who's that next opponent? Oh, the 12. Okay. Little 6 and 12, the New Frontier boys, Foothills v New Frontier, Foothills v EMFC on that side. Good matchups there. I like them. I like them a lot. Game 7, Pot A. Clipping along here, Magic Hands. Who's coming out of there? Number 3, the Tres, New Frontier. The other New Frontier group. So 2 New Frontier teams on the same side of the bracket, but they avoid each other until potentially the semifinal. Pot B. Just looking for Pot B now. Pot B. Number 9. Number 9, okay. Spartans Warriors. Spartans Warriors. I'm not sure if those two teams have played each other yet this year. Haven't looked at that one, but hey, there's always good Spartans teams that come out of that club, so I'm excited to see what that game is like. Game 8, the last game to round it all out, is the 8 seed, the Blizzard SC boys, and the 13 Rangers FC boys. As you can see, loads of teams vying for their chance at provincials and then eventually nationals with these boys U17 Tier 1s. Stick around, we're going to jump back in with the boys U17 Tier 2s after just a short break. Stay with us. Boys, U17 Tier 2, let's get after it. Dive in here. 16 bracket, we've seen a lot of those. Means 2 buys. Calgary West FC 06s, and then Cal Glen Royals 06, 07 get those first round buys, being the top 2 seeds. We're going to jump in. Game 1, Pot A, see who comes out. It's the 3rd seed, so Cal Glen Spurs. Cal Glen have managed to avoid each other either side of the bracket. Luck of the draw there, Cal Glen. So maybe we're going to see an all Cal Glen final in this one at some point. Pot B from the Magic Hands is going to produce the NCFC 07 Gunners. So a little north v south kind of game there. Not too bad. Meaning, by default, that Foothills 2006-2007 United boys are going to go into Pot A, slot 1. Or sorry, into Game 2, slot 1. My apologies. And then the Blizzard Alliance 07-08 boys are going to slot into Game 2, slot 2 as the number 6 seed. Let the technology catch up to our draw. Who needs AI? Just slowing us down, this technology. Blizzard Alliance 07-08 boys, they're going to slide over. Game 2, slot 2. Rounds out the bracket. Great draw for Cal Glen. A little round of applause, golf clap for them. Stick around, boys. U17 Tier 3 coming at you after the break. Good, jumping in that boys U17 Tier 3 bracket. NCFC 07 Gunners have got the bye. They're a bit of a revolution in this age group. Very good team, very good standard there in this bracket. And then the Foothills Sonics 2007. They're going to fall into that other side of the bracket as the number 2 seed. Let's get into pot number A, pot letter A, for game number 1. Hot summer. Feels like you need some medicine to cope with this heat right now. The 3 seed, the Cal Glen Rush 07-08 boys are going to filter into that game 1 slot 1. And then pot B, the number 6, the Villains Warriors 07-08. And I hope you're enjoying that smooth music in the intermission. Little guitar going on, little techno, little beat. Just trying to keep things lively over here. That by default means that the CNEU U15 Thunder are going to go into that slot 1 in game 2 out of pot A, and the Blizzard United 07-08 boys are going to slot into that game 2 slot 2 to round out that entire boys U17 Tier 3 bracket. The boys U17 Tier 4 have got no draw. They've got 2 teams entered into it. Oh, my apologies. 1 team. Misinformation is rampant right now. 1 team, West Hills United 07, are going to be going as CMSA 1. Congratulations, West Hills United 07 boys, U17 Tier 4, representing us at those provincials. Stick around. We've only got a couple of draws left. Girls U17 Tier 1 right after the break. We're back with a vengeance. We're back. Girls U17 Tier 1. This operation's been pretty smooth so far. Not a lot of technical difficulties like last year, so let's keep this rolling. Don't want to jinx it. Dive in. 8 teams. Again, the first, second seed can't be on the same side of that bracket as insurance for them. So they are going to be drawn now out of pot A. Number 1, top seed. Game 1, top slot, like it was meant to be. That's Southwest United Premiers 06 girls. Very good team, very talented group. Excited to see who comes out of pot B. I am, at least. That pot B might not be so excited, to be fair. Let's see who that is. The 5 Chinooks FC 06 Spartak. So a little red, black, and white. Both clubs wear the same kit. They're going to be a good game there, for sure. Back into pot A for game number 2. Who's it going to be out of pot A? Oh, the 2 seed cannot go in there. It was drawn, the Calgary West United 06 girls, so they're going to automatically filter into that game 3. We'll go back into pot A, see who we pull. It's going to be one of those 2 Foothills teams that end up on that same side of the bracket as Chinooks and Southwest United. The 3, so the WFC 2006 girls are going to go into that game 2 slot 1. Interesting. Yep, see how this rounds out. Pot B. Very unique clubs down there, not same. It is the 8. So Cal Glen Wild will end up on the same side of the bracket as Foothills WFC and Southwest Premiers 06 girls. This one might be like some cryptocurrency. It might be up, down, left, right. Anything can happen in that top half of the bracket right now. This could be very volatile, very interesting. Game number 3 Out of Pot B, see who the opponent is for that Calgary West United 06 girls. Magic Hands have pulled the number 6, the Blizzard SC 06-07 girls. Northwest Derby again, Calgary West and Blizzard. They're going to battle it out there for their chance at provincials and nationals with this girls U17 Tier 1 bracket. That leaves only a couple of teams left for game number 4. The Foothills 06 girls going to go down into that game 4. And the Villains Liberty 07-08. Pardon me, I was about to say 06s. They're going to slot in there. So probably the youngest team in the group have got Foothills 06 girls. And then that Northwest Derby on the bottom half of the bracket. Stick around. You know what? We're almost concluded here. We've got one more draw and then some announcements to make. So girls U17 Tier 2 coming right away. The last actual draw that we have, and I'm going to make a proposal here for this 7-team bracket. It's that first team gets the bye, that first seed Rangers WFC 06 and the girls U17 Tier 2 Provincial Qualifier Cup Competition. They're going to slot straight into that game 5, and they are going to have to find out who they're playing after an off week. Game 1, let's go into Pot A. We've got either West Hills, Foothills, or Blizzard coming out of Pot A there. Magic Hands, the 3 seed, the Foothills 2006-2007 United girls. All the literature I've read on them, decent squad, going to be an interesting matchup if they can get past the Pot B team, which is either Rockies, or Cal Glen. It's the 7 seed, so Rockies FC 07, going to slot into game 1, slot 2. There we go, Foothills v Rockies to see who plays off against that Rangers WFC 06 girls team. Into Pot A for game 2. We've pulled the number 4. Okay, so Blizzard Alliance have come out there. Perfect, we're going to slide them over into game 2, slot 1. And then of course always head over to Pot B for the... see who the opponent is. Oof, we gotta slow down, Magic Hands. The technology, us humans, we work far quicker than this computer. The 4 doesn't want to move. I don't think Blizzard Alliance want to go into that game 2 by the looks of things. This might be some sort of omen for them. Maybe they wanted to play in game 3 and that's what they were trying to conjure up. Oh, there they go. Into game 2, slot 1, and it was the 6 seed, the Cal Glen Phoenix 07-08. That are going to be into that game 2, slot 2. That matchup's hot like a baked potato fresh out of the oven. You got to really watch that one. That's going to be a good match. That leaves the West Hills Warriors into game 3, slot 1. The number 2 seed, of course. And then the number 5 seed, the Rockies Energy 08. Going to slot into that game 3, slot 2. So West Hills v Rockies, Blizzard v Cal Glen, and Foothills v Rockies up at the top, all vying for their chance at the ASA Girls U17 Tier 2 Provincials. We've got a list of announcements because there just wasn't the number of teams to make a bracket for the Girls U17 Tier 3. As you can see, top seed Mackenzie United SC Lionesses, those 07s, they're going to be straight into that final. And the NCFC Roma and Rockies Impact are going to have to play off to see who plays against Mackenzie United for that CMSA 1, CMSA 2. One game, win and you're in. Bingo, bango, bongo. Girls U17 Tier 4. Only 2 teams, so congratulations. Another couple that are into the provincials. The quantity of teams just wasn't there to run the bracket, so girls U17 Tier 4 are going to be already completed. Just one game to find out who's CMSA 1 and CMSA 2. And then lastly, into the boys U19s, we have got just another announcement. The boys U19 Tier 2s, game 1, really the only game. It's kind of an artisan kind of game. It's very nice. It's handcrafted. These teams play a decent brand. These boys U19s, Calglen WHU Cavalry 05 against the CNEU Wizards. Then girls U19 Tier 2s, we've got the one team, the North Calgary FC 05 United, and the girls U19 Tier 3, Calglen Titans 04s are going to be going as that girls U19. Not sure where the location. Hopefully there's some nice activities like a bit of fishing, a bit of a beach, hopefully a tropical paradise for those provincial championships. We have concluded today's live draw. That is it. That is it. Done and dusted. Thank you very much for tuning in. Get out and support your local clubs. Get out and watch one of these matches. Lots of fantastic matchups for the Outdoor 2023 Provincial Qualifier Cup Competition and their road to either ASA Provincials or potentially CSA Nationals, depending on the division. Thanks very much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your evening, and we look forward to seeing you on the pitch.